Bright Duty. Every student matters.
Now next we'll look at natural calamities. Now natural calamities, we have heard of flood, we have heard of tsunami, we have heard of cyclones, we have heard of earthquakes, etc. Now these are all called natural calamities. They are not done by men. They take place naturally as a result of the Earth's natural geological processes. The Earth's natural processes. Okay, so earthquakes, because of the Earth's geological process related to land. The cyclones, air. Okay, related to air. Tsunami, water. All right. So all these natural components of atmosphere, of the environment, they go through a natural geological process which causes natural calamities. Okay, like earthquakes, cyclones, and tsunamis. These are called natural calamities. Now, these natural calamities, it leads to destruction of life, property. It leads to deaths of people, animals, destruction of forests, etc. Okay, so now we look at the natural calamities. Now, earthquakes originate on the Earth's crust, alright, and it originates as a result of a sudden release of energy, alright, beneath the Earth's crust. Now, that sudden release of energy from beneath the Earth's crust, it leads to seismic waves. And it's because of the seismic waves, we feel like the earth is shaking. The land is shaking, right? So whenever there is an earthquake, the land shakes, alright? So that shaking is because of the sudden release of energy from beneath the earth's crust. Now, because of such shakings and earthquakes, of course, it leads to damage of life and property, right? Lots of people loses their lives being buried under the rubble, under the buildings which collapses, right? Houses that collapses. Now, apart from damage of life and property, earthquakes also leads to fissures. Now, fissures are basically cracks. Alright, they are cracks on the surface of the earth. So, as a result of shaking, what happens? The land that we have, like for example, the roads, the ground, the field, there develops a crack-like thing, okay, which results out of the earthquake, and such cracks are called fissures. All right. So these are the results of earthquakes. Now there are also something called tectonic plates beneath the Earth's crust. All right. Now these tectonic plates, imagine they are like plates. All right. On these plates rest the land as well as the ocean. All right. So everything that we have on the surface of the earth, the water, the land, the landmass, mountains, oceans, etc. They all rest on these tectonic plates. Alright. Now when sometimes these tectonic plates are moving, okay, and sometimes if there is a release of sudden energy from beneath it, then it moves very abruptly, or it tries to move apart from each other or move against each other. So the movement becomes fast, and when such movement becomes fast, then it also leads to shaking on the earth's surface, and that is earthquake. Alright. Now the center, okay, the point beneath the earth's crust where such release of sudden energy takes place, that is called the focus or the hypocenter. Now this focus, it leads to shaking of the earth's crust or the land, right, the earth's surface. Now the surface which lies directly above the focus, that part of the earth's surface is called epicenter. Alright. So that's the difference between epicenter and hypocenter or the focus. Now the measurement of measuring, the tool which helps us to measure earthquake is called Richter scale, okay? And the earthquake is usually measured between 1 to 10, the scale of 1 to 10, alright? So that is how intense or how bad the earthquake is, that tells us. Now, Richter scale was discovered in the year 1934 by a scientist who was from California in the United States of America. His name was Charles Richter. So he discovered this instrument, this tool to measure earthquake, and that came to be known as Richter scale. The results which are found by measuring with a tool of Richter scale, then that is measured by another tool called seismograph. Okay, so this is how, with the help of seismograph and Richter scale, the earthquakes are measured, how bad it is, where the epicenter is, where the hypocenter or focus is. Okay, now once we know about this natural calamity called the earthquake, now when this calamity occurs, right, it can occur in our village, in our town, in our country, anywhere. Nobody can escape it. It just takes place, alright, because this is natural as a result of a natural geological processes, alright. So when an earthquake occurs, what do we do and what do we not do? So it's very important to remember the do's and don'ts of such calamities. Then of course, when earthquake takes place, then we must ensure that we find a cover. If you are inside the house, inside the building, find a cover. Find a bed, a table, a strong table and a bed, and hide underneath it. Okay, don't come out of the bed, alright, or else you may get collapsed along with the building, alright. Now, of course, you need not panic. You need not get scared and panic and then worry, alright. You have to be calm and try to look for cover, alright. And one should not go out, run out anywhere in times of earthquakes, alright. And also especially do not stand or sit near or in front of buildings or trees, because when they collapse, they might collapse over you. Alright, so those are the don'ts. Now, similar natural calamity that we are going to now look at is cyclone. Now, cyclone is very popular, right? And you may have heard about cyclones occurring in the eastern coast of India or the western coast of India, right? We hear in the news that cyclones have hit Bhubaneswar or Bombay, Mumbai, etc. So those are cyclones. Now what are cyclones? Cyclones are basically huge air mass that rotates around a center, a point, okay? And then that mass of air moves at great speed towards other directions, out of that center. And as it moves, okay, with such force and intensity, it also causes great damage, and it leads to loss of human life and loss of property, damage of property, etc. Alright? Now, the cyclones are caused because of the differences in the air pressure. Now, we have learned about air pressure a little while ago, right? Air pressure is basically the pressure exerted by air on the Earth's surface, right? So the difference in that air pressure is what causes cyclone to originate, alright? Now we are suffering from a phenomena called global warming. The Earth's temperature, the temperature of the Earth's surface is increasing and increasing every year, okay? Now the warming of the Earth is not good, okay? So with the warming of the Earth, there are a lot of consequences, there are a lot of things that is happening, alright? One of the things which the global warming is causing is also increased occurrences of cyclones, alright? So we need to stop or prevent global warming in order to stop increased occurrences of cyclones. Now even at times of cyclones, there are do's and don'ts. Obviously, the do's is we should find shelter, cover, okay, find a safe place to protect ourselves. We should listen to the radio, we should listen to the news and follow the instructions provided by the weather department, right? We should not go outside while the cyclone is taking place, because you might get swept away, you might get blown away, right? So instead of going away, loitering around, we should stay indoors, do not touch electrical wires, do not stay near such electrical poles, etc., because that might cause electrocution of you or your friends or the other people, right? So these are the do's and don'ts. So what is a tsunami? We have heard about tsunami, right? In 2004, there was a big tsunami which shook the whole world. So tsunami also takes place just like earthquakes and cyclones, right? But it's not as common or it does not occur often as cyclones and earthquakes. Now, tsunamis are basically huge tidal wave that rises up several meters high from the sea, from the ocean, okay? So, on the ocean you see the waves, right? We go to the beach and we enjoy the waves. Now, sometimes this waves, it rises up so high with so much speed and strength that it actually pulls away or destroys or submerges a settlement of human beings or forest or other areas on our planet, on earth, okay? So just like cyclones, just like earthquakes, tsunamis also are one of the dangerous natural calamities and causes great damage leading to loss of life, loss and damage of property, etc., okay? Now, how does this and why does this tidal wave, the waves which normally are not so high and looks very pretty and we can enjoy it from the beach as well, but how does these waves rise up so high and that causes damage, great damage to land, to property and human lives as well? It's because of the earthquakes that takes place beneath the ocean. So we know that the tectonic plates are plates over which the land mass, the water bodies like ocean, seas rest, right? Now these tectonic plates, as they collide, as they go apart, as they move towards each other, what happens? It results in earthquakes. Now those earthquakes, if it takes place under the ocean, on the bed of the ocean, then that leads to rise of tidal waves so high that it engulfs lives, it engulfs land and property and causes great damage, alright? Now, in tsunamis, what we see is like huge displacement of water from the ocean. The water which is in the ocean, okay, the water from the ocean gets displaced as a result of the tsunami, and displaced where does it come? It comes onto the land, onto the areas where human beings live, animals live, where the forests exist, alright? Now, of course, when tsunamis happen, we must make sure that we do certain things to protect ourselves, keep us safe, and other things which we should not do. So definitely we should not panic, we should not go outside or go to the areas or near areas where tsunami has hit, okay? What we should do is we should wait for government authorities to listen to weather channels, listen to the instructions, follow the instructions, find a safe place away from the beach, away from the coast. We should make sure that we are not close to the ocean or sea. Alright, so we must find a safe place at an elevated place, okay, in a hill or little higher place. So by doing that, we keep ourselves safe and we can we can also protect ourselves and keep our friends and family safe from a tsunami. Alright. Now another natural calamity is landslide. Okay. Now landslide is a common natural calamity that takes place in the hilly regions of our country as well as hilly areas of other countries. So now landslides occur when a mass of earth, when land or rock, it slides down a slope due to water seepage. If the land has too much water seeping under it, seeping through it, then it becomes loose. So that land or rock, it just slides down the slope. Okay, and it also results from earthquakes. When there is shaking of the earth's surface, then that also leads to slip of land or rock from a slope. So here you can see in the picture how the land or the rocks from this area slips through this slope. Okay, and as it slips through with, the houses or the people in that area also gets swept away, also get buried by the land that has slipped. Okay, so this is landslide. Alright, now even during landslide, we must not panic. We must not go to these areas where the landslide has taken place. We should find a safe place and move away from these areas and find a safer area with no slope or with proper safety measures being taken in the area. Okay, so and we should also listen to the instructions provided by the authorities and follow those instructions. Okay, so now next we are going to look at biosphere. So as we began this chapter, we looked at atmosphere, lithosphere, hydrosphere, and now the next aspect or element or component of environment that we are going to look at is biosphere. Now when we understand biosphere, when we come across the word biosphere, then it indicates life on earth. The life, animals, plants, human beings, all of it, microorganisms, insects, other insects which we cannot see with our eyes, which are so tiny, all those live in our environment together. So that is called biosphere. In biosphere, there is contact between the three spheres that we have already talked about. So the three spheres are lithosphere, atmosphere, and hydrosphere. So these three spheres are in contact with biosphere, which makes possible life on earth. Okay. Now biosphere is that component of the environment where all kinds of life exist. Okay, so all living beings, everything from insects to birds and animals and plants and human beings, all of these live in the biosphere together. Okay, so there are plants, animals, microbes, insects which we can see with our eyes, and even those which we cannot see with our eyes. We have to use microscopes to see them. Alright, human beings. So all these exist together in biosphere. Now, not only these plants, animals, microbes, human beings exist, but their existence is in diversity. So diverse or numerous species of plants exist, numerous different kinds of animals exist, numerous different species of microbes exist. Okay, so there is a diversity. It's not just one kind of plants, it's not just one kind of animals. There are diverse groups and kinds of animals, plants, insects living in a biosphere. Okay, so that diversity can be seen in soil. There are different kinds of soil, alluvial soil, dry soil, etc. Okay, even plants, there are different kinds of plants, bushes, herbs, thorny trees, right, etc. Even animals, etc. So such diversity exists in the biosphere. Okay, now the diversity results from the emergence of new species. Every now and then there is an emergence of new species, new kind of plants, new kind of animals, new kind of insects, new kind of microbes, etc. Okay, so such emergence of new species adds on to the diversity of the biosphere, the diversity of plants, animals and microbes, and that also leads to even more diversifying the plants, animals and microbes. Okay, so now all these different diverse species living together in biosphere is called biodiversity. Okay, there's diversity in the plants that live, there's a diversity in the insects that live and thrive. Similar diversity exists among the animals as well. Okay. Now, due to how we have lived, how human beings have lived, used the resources from environment, how human beings have treated the environment, it has had impact on biodiversity as well as the environment as well. So, let us look at the impact of human beings. So, by the activities that we do, how we live, where we work, how we build our houses, how we go to places, all those things have an impact. It has an impact on the environment. If we drive driving by cars is easy for us, right? It helps us go from one place to another anytime we want, right? Having aeroplanes are better because we can travel around the world in short amount of time quickly, right? But those have impacts on the environment and biodiversity. Okay, the smoke that is emitted by the vehicles, the fuel which is used by aeroplanes, the kind of disturbances that these smokes, these usage of fuels cause, it has negative impact on the environment. Okay, so impact of human beings and its activities in the environment, it has both positive and negative impacts. All right. Some of the actions and activities are good while others are not good. Okay. Now, the activities which are not good is cutting of trees. Now, trees are cut by human beings. Now, that's not a good way of treating the environment, because by cutting down the trees, we are also denuding our landscapes. We are also reducing the amount of oxygen that we may get from the forest, right? But that is a negative impact. But the positive impact of it is it leads to settlement creation. It leads to building of houses for people, building of roads, building of bridges, building of office buildings or factories, etc. Right? So while on one hand you are cutting the forest, that's not good. But on the other hand, by cutting the forest itself, you build more houses, you build roads, etc. So it has both positive and negative impact. But the difficulty here is for us to well manage this impact, positive as well as negative. We have to find a balance between doing these two. We are not saying that you should not cut the trees. You should cut the trees, but after cutting the trees, plant trees. Right? So all those measures have to be taken. Now, human beings not only have used the environment to take natural resources from it, like for example, cutting the trees to get timber to build houses, to build ships, to build boats, etc. By cutting down trees, we are building houses. So we are not only using the environment, but we are exploiting it. We are cutting more than what we need. We are using more trees than what we need. We are using more animal meat than what we need, right? So that is exploitation. When we use something for more than what we need, okay? For example, you need only one pencil, alright? You need only one pencil, but you buy 10 different kinds of pencils or 10 different kinds of pens when you need only one pen. So what do? You create more waste by keeping more pens and pencils. You are adding to the wastage, okay? You are not using it effectively. So such is exploitation when we use more than what we need, alright? So human beings have not only used the environment but actually exploited the nature and the environment, okay? So it is very necessary for us to live in harmony with our surroundings, with our environment. We should make sure that balance is maintained between what we use, what we take from the environment, and what we give back to the environment. You take from the environment, you cut trees, but you also give back. You plant more trees. So such harmonies and such balances should be maintained, alright? And with that, what will happen? We can sustain all forms of life on earth. We do not put in danger any form of life. We do not put in danger to the life of animals, to the life of human beings. Okay? Everybody can live happily, have healthy lifestyle. Okay?